Right this very second, there's a silent, microscopic conversation happening inside you, and it's literally keeping you alive. Today, we're going to eavesdrop on that conversation and find out exactly how our cells talk to each other.
I mean, think about it. The last time you got a paper cut, it bleeds, it stops, a scab forms, and eventually it just heals. But how? How does your body know to kick off that whole healing process?
Or what about this? You decide to go for a run. How do all your muscles coordinate? How do they know to ask for more energy? And how does your heart get the message to start pumping more blood to give it to them? And it's not just physical stuff. You get stressed or nervous, and suddenly you can feel your heart pounding in your chest. How does a feeling, an emotion in your brain, cause a physical reaction in your heart? The link between all of these things is coordination. Your body is made of trillions of tiny microscopic cells, but somehow it all works together as one perfectly coordinated system. So, how is that even possible? Well, the answer to all of this is actually really simple. Your cells are talking to each other all the time. They're constantly sending messages back and forth to coordinate pretty much every single thing that happens in your body. All right, so what is this secret language they're using? Let's break down the basic formula of this incredible biological conversation. The fancy term for all this is cell signaling. And it's just what it sounds like. It's the process where cells use chemical messages to send instructions, to share information, all so they can coordinate their actions for the good of the entire system, which is you. Now, they're not sending texts or emails. These messages are actual tiny molecules. And you've probably heard of some of them, right? Like hormones, which travel through your bloodstream, or neurotransmitters, which fire messages around in your brain. Growth factors are another big one, telling cells when it's time to grow and divide. And this whole communication thing, it almost always follows a really simple three-step pattern. First, one cell sends out a chemical signal. Second, a target cell receives that message using a special protein called a receptor. And third, the receiving cell does something about it. It changes its behavior. Signal, receptor, response. That's the core of it all. A really great way to picture how this works is to think of it like a giant lock and key system. This really helps explain how messages get to the right place without causing total chaos. So here's how it works. The signal molecule, that's the key. And the receptor on the cell's surface, that's the lock. If the key fits the lock, boom, the message is received. But if it's the wrong key, the cell just ignores it. This is so important because it ensures that a message for, say, a heart cell doesn't accidentally get picked up by a skin cell. Okay, so the key is in the lock. The message has been delivered. But what happens next? How does that signal actually make something happen inside the cell? Well, once that signal connects with the receptor, it sets off this incredible chain reaction inside the cell, kind of like a line of dominoes falling. This cascade of activity wakes up a whole series of proteins, passing the message deeper and deeper into the cell. And a lot of the time, this message goes all the way to the top, to the cell's command center, its DNA. The signal can actually tell genes to turn on or to turn off. So this connects two really huge ideas. You've got gene expression, that's the cell's internal programming, right? And then you have cell signaling, which is the external instruction that tells that internal programming what to do. It's like the boss sending an email telling the factory floor which machines to turn on. I know this can all sound a little abstract, so let's ground it in some real-world examples. How does this cellular chatter actually play out in your body every single day? Okay, let's go back to that paper cut. The second your skin breaks, the damaged cells start screaming for help. They release these chemical distress signals. Think of them like tiny emergency flares. The cells nearby detect these flares, and this amazing coordinated response kicks off. Immune cells get called in to fight off any germs. Then other signals tell your skin cells, hey, time to divide and close this gap, which turns on the genes that make repair proteins. It's a beautiful, coordinated effort, all managed by signals. And this isn't just for fixing things. This is how you are made. From one single fertilized egg, cells divided and then started talking to their neighbors, sending signals that basically said, okay, you're going to become a nerve cell, or you over there, you're going to be a muscle cell. This constant dialogue is what orchestrates the development of an entire human being. It's mind-blowing. So, this whole cellular conversation is obviously essential for life, but it's also walking on a tightrope. It's a system that relies on an incredibly delicate balance to work properly. The system is super tightly controlled. So, what happens if that balance gets thrown off? Well, if there's too little signaling, important things might just not happen. Cells won't respond when they need to. But if there's too much signaling, you get the opposite problem. Cells might get stuck in the on position, growing and dividing over and over again, completely out of control.
And this leads to a really critical point. At its heart, many cancers are basically a disease of broken communication. A signaling pathway gets jammed, constantly telling a cell to grow and divide without stopping. It's a pretty harsh reminder of just how vital this delicate balance really is.
So, as we wrap this up, I want you to think about your body in a whole new way. It's not just a collection of cells, a bag of bones and tissue. It is a living, breathing, nonstop conversation. Right now, as you're sitting here listening to me, trillions upon trillions of messages are being sent and received inside of you, every single second of every single day. That constant chatter is what keeps you alive, what keeps you coordinated, what makes you, you. And that leaves us with one last question to chew on. What if that conversation just stopped? If every cell in your body went silent, even for just a few minutes, do you think life could continue? It really shows you that biology isn't just about the parts themselves. It's about coordination. And coordination is all about communication.